The coaching is, do you know what it is for me? I think a couple of years ago, I found my purpose, and I believe that I'm put here to help. I struggled with limited beliefs and procrastination and certain things like that, and I understand it all now. So I feel very confident teaching it to my clients.
One thing I'll say is I totally agree with you about the whole hard work thing. Like, it shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't feel hard. But what can feel hard is the work that you need to do on yourself to get out of that. That space. Your energy in that place, all of you, is such a prime example of why you're successful.
And people want to be around good, energetic people. I get people say it to me all the time. Oh my God, John, I can feel your energy, even on a Zoom call.
Let your partner in on those thoughts, because if you're manifesting something, it involves everyone in your life.
But I believe that you can get it quicker when you're both on the same alignment.
100%.
Until you kind of wake up to it and understand how it all works. You can keep doing certain things over and over again, and you will not get any results. And I know people to this day who still do that, but they won't listen.
They don't. It's that famous saying, energy flows where attention goes. It's so true. Whatever you focus on is just going to grow, good or bad.
But if you're already living from the goal, and you're living from abundance, and you're emotionally involved with it, then you're charged on emotions. They overpower procrastination. And I took to it very well. I started to learn how it works, and then I implemented it. I was doing it in lots of different scenarios in my life, and it was working, and I was hooked.
Well, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you.
It has been, I'm trying to think, when did you come on? Was it November? October? I started in October. You were my second guest that I had on, you and Kaylin.
Yeah, it must have nearly been a year ago.
God, that's gone a bit quick, hasn't it?
That's gone quick. It's gone very quick.
God. So what's going on in your life now? Give a little intro to yourself. Let people know what's going on, especially if they listen to that first episode that you were on. Where
I'm John, co-owner of CryHub, as you know. I've also just started a new business, which is New Habits Mindset Shifts. I've recently become a certified PGI consultant for the Procter & Gallagher Institute. So my life's moving at 100 miles an hour at the minute. A lot's changed in the last 12 months.
Yeah. Procter & Gallagher Institute, for anyone that doesn't have a clue what you're talking about.
Yep.
What's that?
I'm certified mindset and business coach for Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher's Institute. So I teach some of the best material in the world called Thinking into Results. You're familiar with that material, Nat?
Very familiar.
So I know you've done it with another consultant.
We bonded over Bob Proctor
100%.
many times.
Totally.
So you're now officially coaching for Procter & Gallagher.
I am,
which is pretty epic.
Yep.
And you're doing that alongside all of your CryoHub stuff.
Yeah.
Tell our viewers and listeners about CryoHub, for anyone that doesn't know about it.
CryoHub's been going, it'll be coming up to 4 years in next April. So time's flying with CryoHub. We're cryotherapists, so we freeze people, remove inflammation from the body.
Death.
No, not to death. We've had literally one death. I'm joking.
I actually stopped there and went, what?
Just before you come in, that was.
Yeah. God, you didn't tell me that.
So we're cryotherapists.
Yeah.
The team's grown since obviously I last come on the podcast.
Yeah.
We've now got my sister, which is Kelly. She's a huge asset to the cryotherapy business. She's just been promoted to manager. So she takes care of a lot of things now. Me and Kaylin have kind of took a bit of a back step to work more on the business instead of being kind of tunnel visioned where we was working for the business instead of running it. I think there's a thin line between that. And we had to identify what that was. The business has continued to grow. With hopefully getting a bigger premises in next spring.
Nice.
So I think it's going in the right direction really with that.
Business has always been part of your being, or not really? Entrepreneurship.
I've always been very intrigued with successful people.
Right.
And business people. I think I had my first business when I was about 27, 27, 28. I've done numerous things. I've owned a social club. I've owned a window cleaning company. A few other bits and bobs. And then obviously the big business venture was CryoHub. When I decided I wanted to follow something that I was very interested with, and it helped me wonders. So I thought I can help loads of other people by doing this. And then obviously I mentioned it to Kaylin. He was very intrigued with what it all was. He'd never heard of it. Like a lot of people haven't heard of cryotherapy. I took him to the place that I was using, cryotherapy.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nat.
That's all right.
Yeah, I took him to the place I was going for cryotherapy,
Yeah.
and he noticed the benefits straight away, which a lot of people do. I mean, it's not something you've got to do 5-10 times before you notice it.
No,
so
it's instant, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's very relatable to the client when they come in, and I say you can notice it after 180 seconds. Sometimes I think they look at me like he's a bit big-headed. It's not big-headed at all. It's I'm confident at the service we provide.
Well, that's it. You wouldn't be doing it if you weren't
100%.
confident.
I mean, I was living proof of it because obviously being a tendonitis sufferer.
Yeah.
I was constantly inflamed. My ligaments and tendons were always inflamed, and I was on shitloads of medication, which was never the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm completely medication free. I use cryotherapy once a week.
Yeah.
My inflammation levels are low. I remember going to Bidden Manor. I was having regular blood tests for inflammation, and one day I went and the consultant said, "What have you changed, John?" I said, "Wow, what's happened?" He goes, "Your inflammation levels have plummeted right down." And I explained I'd been doing cryotherapy.
Yeah.
And then all he said is, that explains a lot.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of consultants, NHS, a lot of people know about it. Maybe the NHS wouldn't use it. I don't know, because it's natural. Maybe they prefer the pharmaceutical road, but that's just my views on that.
Yeah, I've definitely got my views on that as well, but I don't want to get cancelled, so I'm not going to share too much. But do you remember not that long ago, I hadn't come to you guys for ages, and my back was not okay again. And I came back, I think it had been, 4 weeks or 5 weeks, maybe?
It's been a while.
It had been a long time.
Yeah. I think the longest you'd probably missed since you first started coming
since
to us.
ever. So I was coming like regularly.
Yeah.
And I noticed such a big difference. And then I came within one session. We did the chamber, and then Kelly did the targeted on my the exact area where I had pain, and it was gone.
Yeah, I remember you messaged me and said straight away, like, "Oh my God, it's gone again." I was like,
I love it.
Should have been turning up to your appointments.
I know.
You've already had a written warning.
I know. Oh God, you're going to give me an official warning next. No, I'm here for the cryotherapy. I love it.
So do I.
Yeah. Okay, so business plans are expanding, but basically, CryoHub's going to hopefully have a new premises.
Yeah.
What about your coaching that you're doing? Tell us a little bit more about that.
The coaching is, do you know what it is for me? I think a couple of years ago, I kind of found my purpose in life. I found my purpose, and I believe that I'm put here to help others. So I've got a cryotherapy clinic where I help people with chronic pain.
Yeah.
Which is a very rewarding job for me, to be able to be part of someone's journey, especially if it's a fibromyalgia sufferer or arthritis or something like that, to be part of that. And then the coaching now, obviously, once I've understood how your subconscious mind works and reprogramming and what you can actually be capable of, I know my purpose now is to create and help other people with similar journeys. Like, I struggled with limited beliefs and procrastination and certain things like that. And I understand it all now, so I feel very confident teaching it to my clients.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful for that.
Amazing. I want to get more into that a little bit later, because I've got lots of questions to ask you about that. But let's talk about, you just mentioned that you used to suffer with your mindset, with procrastination, limiting beliefs, all of that. So let's rewind.
Yep.
What did life used to look like for you when you were younger? What was your mindset like growing up before you started a business? Like, what were you like? What was John like 20 years ago?
I've always been a hard-working guy. I've always worked hard, but I think through generational programming from my parents, I thought you work hard and this, that, and the other. And so I kind of got into that habit. People say the harder you work, the better you do, which obviously now I understand that's not the case. But I had a very limited belief system of what I thought I could achieve, and I used to think they can do that, but I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
That's the sort of paradigm I had, and I think that's just from educational programming and then your parent programming, stuff like that. I didn't believe in myself, which was obviously a bad thing. I thought that they're lucky they can do that, or they're silver spoon. This ain't for me. And obviously I had to overcome that, but that took me a long period of time to do.
But it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
And that's, I think, one thing I'll say is I totally agree with you about the whole hard work thing. It shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't feel hard.
100%.
But I don't want to use the word hard, but what can feel hard is the work that you need to do on yourself to get out of that. That space and how you look at things.
When I established, it weren't doing more, it was becoming more.
That's it.
Was a big shift for me. But yeah, like I said, I've always liked reading books about successful people. Peter Jones, Tycoon's one of my favourite books. I think I even told you to get that book, actually.
You did. Yeah. I have actually got it.
Yeah.
I've not read it yet, but I've got it.
That's a really good book.
Yeah.
Like, and I used to read on lots of different successful people, and I become intrigued with it. And I thought, I want to do this. I want to be successful. Like, then I started to understand if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
It's the same as if they cut themselves, a paper cut, they'd bleed, same as me. So
yeah, what makes them any different?
Yeah, it was the way they were thinking. They were thinking different. Obviously, I was seeing obstacles, they were seeing opportunities. And yeah, when I started CryoHub, I had a real big belief system around, I'm going to make this work. There was people saying to me all the time, like, what if no one comes? And I'd say, what if everyone comes?
Yeah.
What if it don't take off? What if it takes off like a fucking rocket?
Yeah.
Sorry, can you swear?
Yeah.
All right. What if it takes off like a rocket?
Yeah.
And obviously I believed in it so much. And obviously I've scaled it. Me and Kaylin have both scaled the business up to where it is now.
Yeah.
And we're an award-winning cryotherapy clinic, which is a huge achievement.
You won that award a while ago.
I did,
as well.
Yeah.
You know, yes, you're nearly four years.
Yeah, yeah.
But you won that award over a year ago, didn't you?
Yeah. No, it weren't before the first podcast, I don't think.
I'm sure it was.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe
I'm
you're
sure
right.
you were raving about it on the first
one.
one.
Possibly.
I think it was.
Sorry to bore you.
By the way, he's won an award, just in case you didn't hear it the first time.
No, but I feel like
that's
that put us on
amazing.
the map, you know, like,
Yeah.
I think that was just like, that was an achievement, and that was one of the small goals that I'd had set.
Yeah.
I want to make this, like, and Kaylin as well.
Yeah.
We want to make it something that stands out, and
Yeah.
I think that did it for us.
But and I've said this to you before, your energy in that place, all of you, is such a prime example of why you're successful.
Yeah.
If you walk into a room, as you know, where the energy's crap and everyone's and like it feels tense, or if it just feels bad and feels low, that place is not going to be thriving.
For sure.
Without a doubt, it's just not going to be. When you walk into your place, when you walk into CryoHub, it's literally like it's Christmas Day.
I believe
everyone is buzzing on high energy.
And how I am and how Kaylin is, I think it rubs off on other people.
Yeah.
So obviously Kelly and Terry have adapted to that.
Yeah.
And people want to be around good, energetic people. I get people say it to me all the time. Oh my God, John, I can feel your energy. Even on a Zoom call, someone said it to me the other week, you know, like, and that, I buzz off that.
You feel it through the screen though. Energy is energy, isn't it?
You know what? I'm always happy. Like, you've never really seen me ever, like, since you've known me. I don't know how long you've known me now, but for a while, I'm not down in the dumps, you know, like, of course I have shit going on like anyone else, but I deal with it different now. Like, I see myself as a happy, outgoing person. My clients like being around me, which is important, because if they don't want to be around me, there wouldn't be a business.
Yeah.
So high energy is key, I think, for success. So when someone first walks into the shop, I think it's very important the way you meet and greet somebody and your first impressions on somebody.
Yeah.
And we come across a bit erratic, bubbly, but people like that.
Yeah.
So whatever we're doing something
100%.
right.
I wouldn't say erratic. I don't think that I wouldn't say that word. I would just say just good vibes, good energy.
Yeah, and we always have a laugh. I love laughing. I think laughing's great. I think you laugh a lot, you'll live long. I always believe in that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I do laugh a lot.
You do.
But I'm a proper morning person. I know my missus hates that.
Really?
She hates that, yeah.
Are you quite different in terms of, like, obviously I know you guys have just had another baby, haven't you, not long ago? We'll talk about that in a little bit. But how does that work then? Because not everyone has, whether it's your partner or whoever, friends, business partner, not everyone has that same high frequency. Now, especially as often as you do.
Like, only recently, the last 6 months, but to start with, we see everything different. We've got very different views on everything. It's like, I don't know how we've been together for so long.
Yeah.
Obviously, I love my missus to bits, but now, lately, I feel like we've really come in alignment with one another.
Really?
Like, I said something last night, like, oh, I like that. And she goes, oh my God, I actually like that as well. We were cracking up. It was a logo, actually. It was a logo for the new business.
Yeah.
Had some sent through.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell her what one I liked. I said, have a look. And she had a look. And she's like, I like that one. I said, oh my God, like,
the same
I
one.
chose that one. She's like, what's going on?
She's like, have you been reprogramming my subconscious mind?
I think it's right. It is rubbing. The stuff I do rubs off on her though.
It will.
100%. And she was on a Zoom call because she's my assistant in that business, and We was on a Zoom call the other night with the clients, and I openly said, my missus used to be so negative.
Yeah.
And like, she don't mind me sharing that. But she's not now. She's one of the most positive people I know.
Yeah.
And if she ever sees me a bit, my vibration is a little bit low, she'll always say, come on, John, what's up with you? Sort yourself out. And
that's so good.
Yeah, sometimes I just need that.
Yeah.
And I always say, babe, I appreciate that so much.
Yeah. And also, like, I always say this, you know, we're all human beings. You're going to have some days where your frequency isn't on cloud nine.
Yeah.
But I'm
glad
just
she
nice.
recognises it.
Yeah.
You know, and like when she says that, I think, oh, okay, to level up then.
Yeah.
My frequency's
Snap out
dropping.
of it a little bit.
Literally that.
Yeah.
I might not even be consciously aware I'm doing that, but it's nice to have someone say, oh, babe, you don't seem the same. Come on.
Yeah.
And then bam, straight away, I'm back to where I was.
I have similar conversations with Greg, with my partner.
Yeah.
And again, I don't always notice it. And then sometimes he'll like take the piss out of me, like in a funny way.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, come on, Miss Positive, this isn't like you. And I'm like, shit, it's not like me. Right. Sort yourself out.
It's good though, when you've got a partner like that.
Yeah. It's important.
And with Lacey, she's so supportive in anything I do. She knows if I put my mind to it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
You know, like
very much so.
The other night I wrote out a new self-image script.
Yeah.
And I spent like 2.5, 3 hours in the office writing it out. And then I record it, like I record everything. So I let her listen to it, like her little face lit up, you know, like the life that we're creating. So
oh, that's so
it's
nice.
It's insane, yeah. She was listening to it. My little girl was going, oh, is that real, Dad? Like, of course it's real.
Yeah.
You know, like, of course it's real, 100%.
But you know what? That's so important, I think, to let your partner in on those thoughts. Because if you're manifesting something, it involves everyone in your life.
But I believe that you can get it quicker when you're both on the same alignment.
100%.
And she knows what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, like when we was listening, I think the recording's about 7 or 8 minutes and it's 9 pages written.
Yeah.
I just kept adding bits to it because, you know, like your self-image can be anything you want. You make your own movie.
Yeah.
And when I let her listen to it, not let her listen to it, but when I said, do you want to listen to it? She's like, yeah. And we put the kids to bed. We sat there. We were both looking at each other, smiling, like had it playing, like we were smiling.
Amazing.
That was making my vibration go through the roof.
Was there anything on there that she wasn't aware that you were kind of planning or thinking, or was she already aware of kind of what the plan is and what, you know, where you see it?
She was aware of the majority of it, but then I'd added on one extra car that she didn't know she was going to have.
Okay.
So yeah.
She liked that bit.
She liked that bit, yeah. Yeah. I think that's so cool, like using your imagination.
Yeah.
Doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
From children, I used to drive cars around a mat on the floor and imagine there was a road there, you know, like, and you get to a certain age and then that just stops.
It stops, yeah.
Like one time I'd done that, without knowing it, it was the last time I ever imagined there was a road on the carpet. You know, I was never even aware of that. But there was a time.
That's mad, isn't it?
There was a time when we had my last sleepover as a child, you know, like you look back at stuff like that, you're not aware.
Yeah.
You know, like, so
and that's so important to like treasure those moments.
100%. But you don't actually know when they're coming to an end.
No, you don't.
Do you know, like, because there was never a time when I was driving my little car and I'm like, this is the last time I'm going to drive down this road. But it was the last time, you know, like after that, I'd never ever done it again.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe that's a blessing that we don't know because.
But then I think you also stop using your imagination, which can really put limitations on you as well. So, I mean, to create anything, you need an idea to use your imagination. So once you start using it again, I think it's fun.
Yeah,
you know, like,
it is fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
But all this work is fun, isn't it?
100%.
Like, and when you understand what you're capable of and what you've got the power to actually do, then everything does not feel hard. Things don't feel hard. Things do feel easy and
effortless. 100%. I love that saying. Easy and effortless.
Yeah,
I live by that.
And it's so true. Like I've had so many times over the years before I did any of the work, and even at the start of my journey when I started getting into all the personal development, where I would go back and forth in my head and be like, yeah, but it must be hard work. It must be hard work. And then when that thing clicks in your head where you go, no, it doesn't need to be hard work.
Yeah.
I just need to be aligned with that thing that I want. And it feels so different.
100%.
And I'm sure you're the same.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm doing anything in my life, if I'm presented with any opportunity, I'm having any conversation, work-related, personal relationship, whatever, if it doesn't feel good to me, I don't entertain it at all.
Yeah.
Or I just stop. I take myself away from those situations.
100%. Yeah.
But so many people live every single day doing things which feel bad, which don't feel good, because they think that's just the way that it should be.
You know what I've done for years and years and years? I wanted different results, but I didn't change anything. I kept doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. You know, like any problems I was coming up with, like we are all creators.
Yeah.
I was creating these problems. I was creating them. So instead of focusing on the solution, I was focusing on the problem, which was making it worse.
Yeah.
Obviously, now I understand all this. I've done this with a lot of things during life.
I think we all have, haven't we?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But until you kind of wake up to it and understand how it all works, you can keep doing certain things over and over again, and you will not get any results.
Yeah.
And I know people to this day who still do that, but they won't listen either.
They don't. It's that famous saying, energy flows where attention goes.
Yeah.
That's one of my favourite sayings ever, because it's so true. Whatever you focus on is just going to grow, good or bad.
I think like an older generation, say like, for example, my mum and dad's age, they're stuck in a routine. Like I feel like maybe people in their 30s, early 40s are becoming more woke to this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And what you actually are capable of. Because you can just go through life doing the same thing and then you just die. You know, I know it sounds dramatic.
It's true, though.
Yeah, dramatic, but that's the reality of it. And if you want different things, you've got to do a different approach.
Yeah.
You can't do the same. I know you know, but I try and speak to some people about it. They're like, fucking hell, he's lost the plot. I'll tell them I'm reading the same sentence for 80 days in a row. They're like,
they think you're crazy.
You need sectioning. I'm like, I don't. I'm doing illogical behaviour.
Yeah.
And I get illogical results.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's like when you break it down to people. So if you say it like that, right, to someone who's never heard of any of how any of this works, how any of this stuff works, it does sound
bizarre.
It can, but yeah. So if you say, "Oh, I'm writing the same sentence over and over again," or "I'm reading the same sentence," it can sound bizarre. But then if you were to put that next to, okay, let's think about a physical result that I want. I want to grow my bicep muscle. What do I need to do to grow my bicep muscle? I've got to repeat the same exercises over and over again. Continue.
You've got to train it.
You've got to train it.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing. And if you say it in that way, some people then kind of get it a little bit more.
I spoke to someone the other day and they were saying 95% success is mindset. I said, that's so true. I said, what do you do to train your mind? I said, what? I said, what do you do to train your mind? Because you just said 95% is mindset.
Yeah.
They go, nothing. I said, okay. I said, but you go to the gym, you've got nice arms, you train your biceps, you train them to get them bigger and better.
Yeah.
But then you know 95% of success is mindset and you do nothing for your mindset.
Yeah.
Where's the logic behind that? You know, like, and they were kind of like, yeah, but how do you train it?
Yeah.
No, and obviously I explained certain exercises you can do.
Yeah.
And
but
things
even,
like that.
you know, even if people don't want to get deep into it, even just doing little things like reading and, you know, listening to people that inspire you, like that's an element of training your mindset. Yes, it's not
100%.
reprogramming you to a degree, but, you know, there's ways that people can step into it.
Yeah,
it
totally
doesn't,
believe that.
But it is just science, really, isn't it? All of it.
Yeah.
Everything's science.
And it's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah.
You know, like they would say like, oh, I need the elites used to do stuff like this and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
you're right what you said, though. I think people are definitely becoming more woke to all
100%.
of it. It's things are definitely shifting. I think social media's
got a big to doing with that as well. Like certain things you wouldn't really be able to have access to, which you can get access to now, and old recordings and stuff like that. I love listening to old recordings of Neville Goddard and people like that. In fact, I was listening to them the last few nights. I've been listening to stuff like that.
Yeah.
Some of this stuff that I have access to, you can't get every day. You can't get on YouTube. And I'm fortunate I can get it through the people I know now.
Yeah.
So it's phenomenal.
You got access to the good stuff.
I've got access to some
all
good
the
stuff
good
now.
stuff.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so take me back.
Yep.
Can you think of any pivotal moments in your life? Because obviously your mindset has changed dramatically. Your life has changed dramatically. Can you think of anything pivotal that's happened in your life which you look back on and go, that was the point where things started to change?
For when I stopped drinking alcohol.
Okay.
I stopped drinking alcohol. That was my biggest downfall.
Let's talk about that then.
Yeah, I was a binge drinker.
Okay.
I didn't drink at home. I didn't even drink every weekend. But when I drunk, that was my biggest downfall. You know, like I was upsetting the closest people to me. It was alcohol related. I was arguing with Lacey. It was alcohol related. I was feeling shit and depressed. It was alcohol related.
Yeah.
Like, I weren't a pisshead, don't get me wrong. I weren't out on the lash every day, but I'd overindulge when I'm going to watch the football. Whatever I was doing, that was That was a big problem for me. And I tried to quit drinking before. Like I didn't drink every day. Like but like I tried to stop drinking, but I'd done it all for the wrong reasons. I was doing it to please other people. And then one day I just said, I'm done with this. Yeah. And that was it. And I never...
Don't drink at all now?
Nah, it's like just 4 years. Yeah.
Not a drop?
Nothing at all. Yeah. And I had some big tests. Like my nan passed away. I was very close with my nan. Me and my sister and my mum used to live there when we was younger. That would have been an excuse to go out before. And that's what it would have been. Someone's died. You don't need to drink. You know, it was an excuse. That would have been like, right, straight on the lash.
Yeah.
And obviously the people I was surrounding myself with while doing stuff like that. That I lost a lot of so-called friends when I stopped drinking. Yeah. Stopped getting invited out.
Yeah.
Like, I still leave the house. I just don't act like a twat anymore, you know, like.
Don't need to.
That was the most beneficial I've done to save my family.
Wow.
Because I would have lost my missus, children from that, 100%.
Was it behaviour that you were doing when you were drinking?
I wasn't like a violent drunk. I was just a knob.
Just an arsehole.
I just didn't know when to... No, not even an arsehole. Like, I just didn't know when to stop.
Okay.
I've tive a very addictive nature. Like, I don't do drugs. Otherwise, I'll be a flat-out drug addict.
Yeah.
I don't drink because when I did drink, I've never had one beer. I've had 7,000. You know, like, there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't enjoy it. I used to have anxiety about going out because I knew I'd want to carry on drinking.
Really?
Like, I've got an addictive nature. It's in my family. But then I've reversed that. So certain things I do now, like obviously that's when I started to study and stuff like that, I was addicted to that.
Yeah.
I've never gone up to a swimming pool and just dipped my toe in. I bomb straight and splash everyone.
Well, I remember when I taught you a reformer class. You weren't messing around there. You went straight in.
Straight in, flat out, full planked out or whatever it was. Yeah, I'm very all or nothing. Yeah. And I make very quick decisions.
Yeah. I'm very similar. I'm the same.
I don't know if you say impulsive, but once I've made my mind up, I'd never really go back on it.
Yeah.
I'll act on that and I'll make it work.
There's a difference, isn't there, between being impulsive and acting on inspiration and knowing. Yeah. Like, it's one thing to be like, no, I know this is the right decision, go. Yeah. Or making a quick impulsive decision just for the sake of it.
100%.
Which a lot of people do. Yeah. And you've got to know what that difference is between the two.
Yeah, so the drinking for me was the biggest turning point in my life. The biggest turning point.
So what started to change once you stopped drinking?
I started to see everything different. And then I started to look back how many weekends I've wasted feeling like shit from this stuff, you know. Like, don't get me wrong, I still have a 0 Guinness sometimes. If I go and see my dad and he's watching the football at the pub, I'll have like a 0 because some of them are 0.5. I always make sure they're nothing. You know? I'll never ever drink alcohol again in my life though. I can never do it because I tried before. I stopped drinking for like 3 months. And then I thought, right, let's just try now. I'll have a glass of wine, my dinner. I was trying to drink more.
Really?
Yeah, I just couldn't.
Was it like the feeling associated with drinking that you wanted more of?
No, because I'd go out with a good mindset, right? I'd just have a couple. And then once I got intoxicated, see my mindset change, like, fuck it, it'll be all right. Yeah. And I've done that, fuck it scenario too many times, too long, you know, like, that's not me. I can't. Yeah, that's the best thing I've ever done, though.
So that was 4 years ago. Yeah. And then Cryo Hub opened 4 years ago. Yeah. So did you stop drinking just before you opened Cryo Hub?
No, to be honest, it was about 6-7 months into Cryo Hub. Okay. So it might not be 4 years yet, actually. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just wondering because the timing of that, you know,
that was a big thing. I couldn't be out drinking, acting an idiot, bumping into clients, you know, like, and having to serve them on Monday morning. Like, oh, you're that knob on the table dancing or whatever, you know, like, I couldn't have that. Yeah. And obviously I let Kaylin down a few times, meant to be going and I didn't go to work, you know, like, and he had to cover me. And that was through that. Yeah. And that weren't on for him. Obviously, he didn't know anything about cryotherapy, so he invested in me as a person. And for me to let him down like that, you know, like, I felt so guilty. I had to stop, you know, like.
Everything's a lesson though, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
And you wouldn't be where you are now without going through that.
Don't get me wrong, but I don't have many regrets in life. No. I think they've made me the John I am today. Yeah.
100%.
I never sit down and think, I wish I hadn't done that. Because why am I going to torture myself? I've already done it.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's done now. It's the past. Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I only look forward to the future. I
Yeah.
don't, obviously there's certain things I think, oh, I shouldn't do that. But I've done it. You know, like, I'm sorry, it is what it is.
Yeah. But that's the best way to be. And like you said, like, I think everyone, even if you say you don't have any regrets, there are things in your life, aren't there?
I'm not saying I ain't got no regrets.
Yeah.
But I mean, like.
But everything led you to
yeah,
here.
I do. Yeah, 100%. I believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, if I didn't do certain things I've done, I wouldn't be where I am today.
100%.
Like, so, yeah, I don't really. Obviously, I've got regrets, but I ain't got regrets, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
I regret doing certain things, but I don't regret doing them at the time. And because it's made me who I am. If I hadn't have done them, then God knows what would be going on with me. You know, so.
Who knows?
Yeah, 100%.
You're here now?
The drinking was the biggest turning point for me to become a better person, a better partner, a better dad.
Yeah.
Everything, you know, like.
Amazing. And so I know you started your own coaching journey.
Yeah.
3 years ago? 2 years ago?
Yeah, about 3 years.
What made you want to take that leap? Had you done any personal development work prior to that?
I ain't done any.
Okay, so talk me through that. How did you get there?
Yeah, I kind of, obviously I knew the guy that I was going to do it with. And I was watching his stuff, and I was familiar with Bob Proctor as well, because I had watched certain things on YouTube and stuff like that. And I knew he was teaching a program which was facilitated by Bob, which was his material. And I know anything that comes from that man would be proper stuff. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Which he's had 53 years worth of study into the thinking results material. So I got involved in that, and straight away, bam, I was addicted to it. But then I'm very easy, I wouldn't say brainwashed, but I'm very easy to fall into it. So I started to believe it. I'd never set goals or nothing like that. I had set goals, you know, but not proper goals, not how we set them now, you know. Like, I'd written it on a bit of paper, put it in the drawer, and it just gathered dust.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't take any action to get towards it. I thought one day I'm going to get a phone call, I'm your goal. You know, it don't work like that.
I'm your goal.
So I never knew how to actually do it. And obviously I started to learn how to do this, and I took to it like a duck to water.
Yeah.
You know, I started to implement what I was learning, and I started to put that into the business, and that's when we blew it up from the moment. Kaylin invested in me doing the coaching.
Yeah.
He didn't do it.
Yeah.
But he invested. We done it through the business. You know, we paid for it through the business. And he noticed huge shifts as well.
Yeah.
He's like, bloody hell. He's like, look how many people have had sign up. I was like, yeah. He was like, I was like, we should expect this now. You know, we should expect it.
Yeah.
We're operating. Before we're operating from lack. You know, like every time we sign someone up, we're counting, someone would drop off.
Yeah.
You know, like now I started to think from abundance. I started to understand it. I started to learn how to give gratitude properly. I started to learn how to become emotionally involved with what we wanted. And the goals I set for the business, obviously there were C-type goals. You know what all C-type. Obviously an A-type goal I got taught that was something I know I could do. B-type is what I thought I could do. C-type was like my wildest dream. But it's what you actually want. It's the C-type. So I started setting them for Cryo Hub. Big goals. Yeah. And I've smashed I've done them.
Really?
All of them now, yeah.
Need some new C-types.
Yeah, 100%. I've done them.
That's amazing.
I started to understand, like, if I can become emotionally involved in it, because the feeling's a secret, you know, like.
Yeah.
Because we live from the goal, you know, like we don't work towards the goal, we live from it. And the knowing and doing gap, the bit in between, that's what puts most people off doing a goal, because you set a goal and then you think, oh yeah, but what about this? But if you're already living from the goal and you're living from abundance and you're emotionally involved with it, then you're charged on emotions. They overpower procrastination. And I took to it very well. I started to learn how it works, and then I implemented it. I was doing it in lots of different scenarios in my life, and it was working, and I was hooked. Yeah. I was flat out on it. I was an addict of this stuff, you know, like I was going all in. And then I've kind of thought, I'm a product of the product here. And I really liked it. And one of my goals before ever having Cryo Hub was always to become a coach. But I had a very limited belief on that as well. You know, like now I'm doing it. It's happened a lot quicker than what I ever anticipated.
Can I say something? I don't know if you remember this conversation. One of the first conversations we had together, you said to me that you've always wanted to be a coach, and you literally said, you were like, oh, I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I remember saying to you, you've had similar words with me about different things.
Yeah, of course.
But I remember saying to you, yeah, you can.
Yeah, you did. I do remember you saying
that was probably about a year ago.
Yeah.
And within a year, you've literally created that exact life that you wanted.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Do you know, and if anyone else had said that to me at the time, I'd said, you definitely can.
Yeah.
But I was holding myself back from that, you know.
But we don't it's a limiting belief.
Then obviously I had a certain scenario where I was still getting coached.
Yeah.
And then for whatever reason, you know, kind of the backstory of what happened.
Yeah.
I stopped getting coached. And that was kind of the driving force then. And I contacted the Proctor Gallagher Institute, and I said, and obviously to get certified, you can't just sign up and pay this sum.
And hope for the best.
Nah, like I had to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to Scotland on the 29th to do live training there.
That's amazing.
With Sandy Gallagher and all big people like that, which I'm super excited about, and to finally get my certification. So I'm already certified, but I haven't got it in person because you've got to attend a live training event, which I'm going to. And obviously, this is like, I'm living my dream. But I'm going to scale this.
Yeah.
I'm going to go
What's
for it.
What's the vision then? What's the vision of where you
it's
see
huge.
it?
Obviously, there'll be a point I'll have to take a step back from CryoHub.
I was going to ask you, I was actually going to ask you about that, because it is, you know, coaching is a full-time.
Yeah, 100%.
And especially when you're so invested in it, and where you're at now at that peak of creating.
To be honest, I don't do a full day at the clinic. I do 4 till 7 on a Monday, 8 till 1 on a Tuesday, 8 till 1 on Wednesday, Thursday I'm off, Friday 3 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of out, you know, like, but there has been a decision. I've made a decision. So I ain't going to go into what that is right now, but I've made a decision that this is what I want.
Yeah.
And I will continue to follow this.
Yeah.
You know, like, I've got a huge vision for it, just like I suppose anyone has when they do something new. But you know what? The good thing is my clients are getting crazy results so quick. Like, and I buzz from that.
Yeah.
That just drives me so much.
There's nothing like it, is there?
Nah, like, you know, you're a coach yourself. Like, so when your clients share a win with you,
no matter how small they think that is.
It's never too small.
Exactly.
It's never too small.
Exactly.
Like, a win's a win. Obviously, they're all starting in similar situations to where you probably was and I was.
Yeah.
Limited beliefs, what they actually think they're capable of. And once they start following the blueprint, the simple steps, and start to understand it as well, it's nice to watch them grow. You know,
it's
like,
so
I love
nice.
that. I think it's such a rewarding job. That's like when I established my purpose is to help individuals.
Yeah.
And that makes me happy. You know, like, I feel happy from doing that.
That's 100%. When you know you're doing what you should be doing.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Like with CryoHub, I go there smiling, I go home smiling.
Yeah.
And I speak to a lot of people and I ask a lot of people what they do for a living. And some people say, I've done this for 10 years, 12 years, and I hate doing it.
Yeah.
I do feel for them, because imagine driving to work every single day, dreading your day.
Yeah.
Like, that can't be a nice feeling.
No. And I always find it a bit tricky when I have conversations like that, because there's a saying which I love, which is, you're not a tree, you can move.
Yeah.
Right. And I do think, don't get me wrong, there are certain people who are in situations which they're stuck in for whatever reason. Yeah. But they almost always is a change if you want there to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Even if it's changing the company but doing the same job, but just going into a different environment. Just hit that mic there. Sorry, I don't know. You know, people always have the option to get out of that situation.
Yeah.
But the sad truth is that the majority of people prefer to be unhappy and comfortable than happy and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it's that terror barrier,
100%,
right?
100%.
That's what that is.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just wish I could, like,
because on the other side of the terror barrier is freedom.
Yeah.
You know, like, but the amount of times I've crashed into it and not made a dent on the wall until I had to smash it down.
Really?
And have to go for, on the other side of it, it's everything you want.
Yeah.
No, but if you
what was that process like then? Because I'm just going back to that conversation I had with you a year ago where you were like, no, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And then obviously you went through your coaching journey.
Yeah.
You stopped doing that, whatever. Did you wake up one day and just kind of think, right, I'm just going to go for it? Or was it like a build up of thoughts and feelings?
No, I had some thoughts. So originally I was going to just make a program, you know, like myself, something I was going to do.
Yeah.
But deep down, I wanted to teach thinking into results.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think I was going for that because the guy that taught me was doing that. You know, I think that's what it was, if I'm honest.
Okay.
And then for whatever reason, I said, nah, like, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. Like, I'm going to do it. And then when I contacted them, I wouldn't say you have an interview, but look, you sort of, you have a breakdown of how they want to understand your paradigm basically.
Yeah.
And see where you're at. And then they're like, bloody hell, like, quite good at this. Like,
you might be all right.
Yeah. And then obviously that was a bit of a confidence boost. And then, I just made the leap. I said, all right, cool. I'll do it. I'll give, like, obviously it ain't pennies to do something like that.
Yeah.
So I went straight in. I said, yeah, I'll do it. And I started to do it. There's 12, you have to do 12 different modules. Certain things you have to qualify. I don't think anyone, you can just go there, pay the money, and they're like, right, you can, because obviously it's their brand, it's their name.
Yeah.
Obviously it's my own business, but I teach their material.
Yeah,
I teach their stuff.
Yeah.
But then again, I think becoming a product of the product helps massively. Like,
for sure.
Knowing it works and that, you know, like understanding it and knowing I've implemented it, I've done it. So there's nothing stopping anyone else doing it.
Yeah.
I've done it. I'm just a normal geezer.
Yeah.
Like, and I've achieved great things from it.
Yeah.
So
that's like anything in business, isn't it? Like, in order to sell anything, you have to be the evidence that that thing works.
100%.
And if you're doing mindset coaching, like I always say, any coach in general, whether it's mindset, personal training, whatever, that particular person has to have gone from A to Z and been through that journey and been the evidence that
100%.
the change is there.
And I know you've done that, and I've definitely done that as well. Like, I had a Zoom call with a coach the other day, and some of the stuff that I said, well, what do you ask your clients to do? They were telling me, I said, do you do that? I said, no, I don't do that. I said, what do you study then? They said, well, I do the coaching. I was like, yeah, I get that, but how are you constantly evolving? You know, like, and they were like, well, nah.
I don't need to do that.
Yeah, I kind of like, well, you know,
honestly,
like,
that's so big. That's such a big thing, though, isn't it? I think there's so many.
I can think
coaches.
of nothing worse than that. I would not feel comfortable having someone. I always say to my clients, like, you're investing in me, I'll fully invest in you.
Yeah.
And I always leave the conversation with, you tell me what you want, I'll show you how to get it. You know, like, that's what Bob used to say to people.
And at the same time, you'll continue to invest in you.
Yeah, obviously, I've still got a mentor now. I still have a mentor.
Yeah.
Like, I will never not have a mentor.
Yeah.
I think every successful person in the world has a mentor.
100%.
It doesn't matter where you're at life. Like, there's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
One of my clients, his revenue is 25 million a year. You know, like, obviously he's earning a lot more money than me at the moment. But he's been at that revenue for 3 years. So you've got success fatigue. Maybe you've took the foot off the gas. You know, like, he said to me when I first had a meeting with him, John, can you get my mojo back? I said 100%. He said, I'm in. And now he's smashing it. You
that
know,
should
like,
be your tagline, giving you your mojo back. I feel like that's you all over.
That's the first thing he said to me. And I met him through Cry Hub. We kind of resonated with one another. And he'd heard me talking about this. He hadn't directly mentioned it. He never ever thought he would have a mentor or nothing like that.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm really good friends with him now. He's doing amazing at what he's doing.
Yeah.
He sends me messages all the time, they're magical, you know, like, and he's a multi-millionaire, you know, like, he's a very successful man. He's 53 years old. I'm actually playing golf with him tomorrow. And he can't believe how quick it's all happened. But obviously, you've got to be dedicated, you've got to want it change, you know,
100%.
like,
but
you've got to
imagine,
be coachable.
That's it.
You've got to be coachable.
That's it.
Like,
that's like, again, not everyone is coachable.
Nah.
So many people think that they want it.
I know some people see it as a trend, you know, like,
I think
I've got a mentor, I'm setting goals.
Oh my God, you're spot on.
It's not that though. You know, like,
but I think that's definitely what's happening at the moment. You know how you were saying about social media, like, more people are getting woken up to all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I do think that a lot of people genuinely are doing the things that they need to do. But I do think a lot of people are just jumping on the trend. For sure. And just saying that they're doing their gratitude every morning for the sake of it.
Like the other day, like, I see myself different to a lot of other mindset coaches. I teach different. I'm very direct, straight to the point. I don't sugarcoat nothing. I always say to my clients, I'll kick you up the arse, but I'll applaud you at the same time. You know, like I get them doing illogical things, and I know by some of their faces on there, like, fucking hell, what's he on about? You know, like, but when they start to do it, they start to ingest it. They start to understand it. They start to implement it. They start to embody it. They see the change. You know, like maybe I swear a lot on my Zoom calls and stuff like that, but I'm very relatable. I don't turn up in a suit and tie. You know, I turn up as me.
Yeah.
Because I'm me. You know,
that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I'm very, I'd say authentic, but I know what they need to do. And I just... I drive them to do it. Like,
and your authenticity, anyone's authenticity is their superpower. I think anyone that tries to start being like somebody else, you're automatically going wrong.
I come off calls with people, with them, and then I will always get a message by one or two of them saying, I so needed that this week. Thank you so much, John. And I say, it's my pleasure. I love doing this. You know, like, I'm pumped up before the Zoom calls. I'm buzzing. Can't wait.
But even just the way you talk about it, like, that's very evident. Like, you feel that. And you can feel that within people, can't you? You know, but whatever they're talking about.
I feel like some of them not act from being desperate, but like really want clients so bad. All you're doing, you're disconnecting yourself from it. And like, when you set a goal, for example, if you're constantly looking for the results, you're actually delaying it. You know, all you need to, I know you know this, but I'll explain it.
But it's good to explain it for everyone to understand.
You want to become in harmony with it.
Yeah.
Because then you become a magnet.
Yeah.
And you start to go towards your goal, but not only that, the goal starts to come towards you. Very quick, you know, quantum leaps. You know,
that's the dream, isn't it? That's what you want.
Yeah, like, but it's the constant looking. Oh, I've done this gratitude for a day. Nothing's happened. You know, like, let's take time. Luckily, I haven't had a client like that who's constantly looking for their results, because I make it evident from the start of how this program works before I'll sign anyone up. I turned to people down the other week. And they couldn't believe that. You know, like, I just said, you're not the right fit for this. Yeah, but I'll pay in full. It's not about the money. It's about who I'm going to bring into my inner circle. You know, like...
and who you're investing your time and energy into.
Yeah, for sure. Like, what I do, you know this material anyway, it's not for everybody.
No.
It definitely ain't. But there is certain individuals who it is for.
Who it's really for.
Yeah, who it's really for. And I'm not going to say your average mindset fluff, but it's different, you know, like, you know what it consists of.
It's the deep shit that people want to avoid.
Yeah, it is that. It is that. You know, like, if you've got tasks to do in a day, 9 times out of 10, you'll pick the easiest. Like, this is the opposite. This is the hardest. But then it's not hard to follow once you know what you're doing. It's very, very simple. Like, some of the worksheets, obviously you've done them, so you wouldn't ask yourself these questions on a day-to-day basis. You know, like, you especially wouldn't ask yourself it 14 days in a row.
Yeah. You know, and like, this is what I was saying at the start about the hard work thing. Doing all of that stuff is not for the faint-hearted.
Nah.
It's a real commitment.
Yeah.
And if you're someone who has a job, has a full-time job, has a family maybe, you've got to really, and I know as a coach you guide people in how to set your time apart and like, you know, do all of that stuff, but you got to really commit to yourself if you want the change. And such a small
100%.
Percentage of people are really committed to do that.
You know what, the worst one is, obviously, motivation's great, but motivation is temporary, you know, like, because one day you'll feel motivated, the next day you won't. It's discipline you want. And that's one thing I'll say proudly. I'm very disciplined. If I say I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock every day, I do that.
Yeah.
And it shows in my results, though. Like, I'm consistent. So if you're disciplined, you're consistent, that equals results. I always follow through with what I say I'm going to do. I don't bullshit people.
No.
I'm not hard on myself either. I'm not hard. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, so hard on myself. I'm not hard on myself.
Yeah.
Like, why would I be hard on myself?
What's that going to gain?
Yeah, I'd set myself out what I do, and I take action every day. That's what people don't do. You can have the biggest vision in the world, but what are you doing to get towards it? Like, nothing. Like, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah. And do you know what's scary? And this isn't people's fault because people don't know.
Nah, of course.
But, you know, like, you have conversations with people, like you were saying you had that conversation with a coach and you said, so what are you doing to train your mind?
Yeah.
Well, nothing.
Yeah.
Like, things like that where they can't even give you an answer straight away. And they're just, people hold themselves back because there is a lack of understanding of what it really, really takes to get those changes and to get those
100%.
results. So you are very disciplined.
Yeah.
I know this. Let's talk a little bit about your daily habits and what your days look like. I know you get up at 5 and you do your morning routine.
Yeah.
Actually, before I ask you that, what did your days used to look like? When you were still drinking, when you were just not where you're at now?
They were not organised, put it that way. They weren't organised. I didn't get up. I got up when I woke up, not when I should get up. You know, like, I didn't have stuff in place. I wasn't organised. I didn't have my day planned out. I didn't know what I was doing. It was chaos, you know, like I was kind of going with a flow. I felt myself always rushing. Obviously it's different now. My days are planned. I have everything structured. I use as less brain calories as possible. I'm not running around looking for a pair of socks. They're already on the banister.
Yeah.
Or they're wherever they're going to be.
Yeah.
My shit's in order.
Yeah.
I've not got OCD, but I like to get up, cold shower and crack on with what I got to do. I don't want to be wasting brain calories searching around for things.
Yeah.
Or where am I going now? I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. I'm not late. I'm always on time.
Yeah, I love that, like, brain calories.
Yeah,
let's not waste them.
Nah, because you can. You're running around, putting yourself in a bad vibration. You can't find this. Oh, where's my bloody trainer?
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm not that. I get up, I'm happy, I'm in a good vibration. I know you know my morning routine.
Yeah. But let's tell people. So you get up at 5.
I get up at 5. I have a cold shower straight away. I make a black coffee.
Yeah.
I go into my office. I like it to be freezing cold in there. I'll put the aircon on so it's cold.
In the office?
In the office.
Okay.
I start with gratitude. I do gratitude first, and then I'll do a visualization. To some people, it can sound like a lot, but it's not. You know, like when you know how to do it.
Yeah.
That was one thing I did struggle with, actually, was visualization.
At the start?
Yeah, 100%. My mind was going, as soon as I shut my eyes and I tried to get into it, I was thinking about this, that. When I get out of the visualization, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I learned to disconnect from the outside world and focus on what I'm doing, the task in hand, and that is visualizing the crystal clear image. So I'll do that in the morning, and then whatever subject I'm studying, I will spend a minimum to an hour studying it. I mean, I don't get too carried away. Some people, they're so wrapped up in studying, they're not actually building the business.
Sure.
So there's other things that I do for my coaching business.
Are you still going through the thinking into results modules?
I am. Yeah, I still do them. But do you know how I do it now? If I feel like I need to sharpen my tools on certain subjects, I'll do that lesson for 7 days.
Yeah.
Because I'm studying some other material that they've give to consultants to study.
Yeah.
So I'm studying that. But I'm forever going through the TIR programs because obviously I teach it weekly.
Yeah.
And like I say, if I ever feel like there's something I need to sharpen my tools up on, I'll do that lesson. And I always watch the Zoom call back straight after.
Yeah.
To pick up if there's anything I didn't do 100% as good as I could have done.
You could add some extra bits in.
Yeah, I'll always watch that straight back after it.
Yeah,
but my days consist of that, and I always think the good I desire, you know, like whereas before worrying about shit that's happening in 6 months that might not necessarily happen.
Yeah,
I don't do that no more. You know, you are what you think about. Like, you know all this, but you are literally what you think about, and people might think, oh, whatever, but you are.
Yeah.
You know, like you are.
It's so true. And do you know what? One of the biggest misconceptions, especially with social media and the hype around manifestation, which is definitely getting bigger and bigger, isn't it? Is that the law of attraction, your thoughts are what get you your results. But it's your feelings are what gets you your results.
100%.
The law of vibration.
It's staying in that, you know, like, because you can do the morning routine, have the best vibrations, step out your front door into the real world. You know, like how I explain it to my clients. If you're in a car and you've got a radio, in an old car, you got the radio's on. Yeah. And then you go to the next station, you turn it.
Yeah.
You get distortion. You're coming off the frequency, you turn it a little bit more, bang, we're back on it. It's training yourself to stay in that all the time. Yeah. You know, so when you do leave your house, you're in that throughout the day, you know, like, but people say, yeah, but I've got to focus on work and all that. I was like, yeah, but you do it subconsciously.
Yeah.
You know.
And you can still focus on your work and still be in a certain frequency.
But then again, I think as well, to when you start to study this sort of thing, you have to let go of your old habits, you know, like, because you couldn't buy loads and loads of new clothes and try and fit them in your pre-existing wardrobe because there's no room. So you have to have a mental clear up. Yeah. That could be friends. It's obviously habits, habitual behaviour. And
so going back to self-image, what you were talking about earlier, and going back to what you just said about clothes, I've recently, over the last couple of months, going into my wardrobe, I'm going through like some next transition for my self-image at the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of figuring some stuff out in my head of my new script and my new self-image. And the last couple of months, I go into my wardrobe. I'm like, nope. I cannot relate to anything that's in there.
I've done the same thing on Sunday.
Other than my gym clothes, which I wear every day. It's different. Yeah. But like, you know, if you're going out or whatever.
Yeah.
Nothing. And I'm having the biggest clear out. Because like you said, like a mental clear out, the same thing goes for your physical, for your environment, for your belongings, for what you wear.
I think the self-image is so important.
So important.
Yeah, like, because I wouldn't have seen my wardrobe, honestly, I'm very plain Jane.
Yeah.
It consists of chinos, white T-shirts.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, I have obviously my gym clothes.
Yeah.
But it's very basic. Like, I would never have seen myself wearing Oliver Sweeney shoes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, like, I only wear trainers on the treadmill now or at the gym.
Yeah.
This is my self-image. I'm comfortable in these clothes.
Yeah. Feels good for you.
I like wearing sandals a lot as well. I like my feet being open. I like that feeling. Whereas I wouldn't have done that before. I'd have been like subconscious about it. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, if I can do that, I don't care now.
But you've become that person.
Yeah, 100%. These are the things, how I dress, how I'm plain. I'm not very materialistic. It's all in my self-image, you know, like, obviously there's a lot more to add into it, but I am you have to become and embody the person you want to become.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can't, to become the new you got to do new things and have a new image and new set of friends, and it comes with new things.
Nothing changes if nothing changes.
No, it don't. Yeah. But that can take a long time to understand that, even though it's so simple.
And to happen.
Yeah, to happen, yeah. But you've got to implement, you have to do it. You have to take action every day.
Yeah.
You have to.
God, love it. There's so many things we could dive into.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the fact that you're a dad.
Yeah.
Because
I love being a dad.
Throwing that into the mix as well.
Yeah.
As well as working Cryo Hub, coaching business, being a dad of 4?
5.
Dad of 5, a partner.
Yeah.
How do you, for anyone that's listening, right? So there might be listeners who are listening to you going, I want what he has.
Yep.
You've obviously gone from here. You're now thriving in what you're doing in work, in your business, in relationship. You've got lovely children.
Yeah.
What's your advice to those people? How do you juggle it all? Like, what tips can you give people to start that process of doing what you're doing right now?
We've got the amount of children that we always set out to have as well. You know, like,
you always aimed for 5.
Yeah, but the last 2 took a little bit longer. The gap weren't meant to be so big.
Okay.
Between them, but for whatever reason, it just weren't happening.
Yeah.
I love being a dad though. I love that, and I think I'm good at being a dad. My kids think I'm hilarious. Like, we have so much fun.
Yeah.
I like doing adventures and stuff with the kids. I wouldn't say I'm a big kid, but I do like doing stuff with them.
Yeah.
How do I juggle it around? I go to work for a break. No, I'm joking.
To be honest.
Nah, but my missus is obviously, she's amazing. Her job's a lot harder than mine. She looks after the children.
Yeah.
Obviously, I provide a nice income for us and the life that we want. Of course, it's hard. We've got 5 kids. Sometimes it's like a jungle. 2 sons punching hell out of each other. Daughter hanging off my earlobe.
Yeah.
The other one's crying about nothing.
Yeah.
Of course, it can be stressful, but that's what we wanted. You can't cry you got food on your plate when all you wanted to do was eat.
Yeah.
You know, so we deal with it.
Pick your battles.
I think it's a happy household. You know, like my 4-month-old, Heartland, he's constantly smiling. Like my 18-month-old will walk past him, slap him on his forehead, and he'll smile like that. You know, like
he's like you.
Yeah, he's honestly, he gets up early as well in the morning. Say 5 o'clock, I'm trying to creep out of the bed, and I look into the cot, and he's like, he's happy, he's smiling. I think being around that,
good energy.
Obviously, the 15-year-old Tane, he helps out with things as well. You know, like we've got a big age gap because we've got a 15-year-old son, 12-year-old daughter, 9-year-old daughter, 18-month-old daughter, and then a 4-month-old son. So there's a gap which was never meant to be there, but that's how it worked out. Yeah. So we love being parents.
Yeah.
So we've always said, like, we want to have big house, have our grandkids. I'm talking about grandkids now. You know, like have our grandkids around when I'm grandparents. Have a big round table. Let's all have Christmas dinner together. Like we've always had a big vision of that. Like that's what we've wanted.
Yeah. Basically, anything's possible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whatever you want, you can achieve it.
I'm not saying it's a walk in the park with 5 kids, because sometimes it's not. You know, like there'll be an unnecessary fight over an iPhone charger that don't need to take place, or just trying to get them all into the car and sometimes
just leaving the house, I'm sure,
be quite long. Yeah, and going on holidays and stuff like that. Obviously, we need big rooms, and because we've got a big family, but that's what we wanted.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world. 100%, I would never change that for the world.
I love that.
I love being a dad. It's so cool, so good, and it's my why as well. You know, like if you understand your why, why do you do certain things?
So how would you describe your why?
My why is very purpose driven towards creating the life that we desire. And my children is obviously a big part of that. Like, they're in my self-image script. They're grown up. They're older in my self-image script. They're not a lot older, but they're like, I'm talking 5 years down the line.
Yeah.
I'm describing them and how I think they'll turn out to be. And obviously they've got their own minds. They do whatever they want, but this is just my perception of it.
So the 15-year-old, any idea which direction
he's
going in?
He likes, obviously he come to do work experience at Cryo Hub.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he come there. He likes business. He don't necessarily like cryotherapy. But he did say, Dad, I really enjoyed it a lot more than what I thought I was going to. So I was showing him more the business side of things, which is ordering the nitrogen and doing the things behind the scenes that the clients wouldn't normally see. You know, they see us hands on deck doing the treatments, but they don't see what Kaylin's doing behind the scene. They don't see what I'm doing behind the scene. So I give him an insight into that. And he did say, oh, Dad, I can see now when you get home sometimes while you're tired.
Yeah, I get it now.
Because on the Friday, he done a full day. And I went into reception. It was about 6:45. I was mopping, and he was nodding off. Yeah, he's like, Dad. I was like, yeah. Obviously, I don't do long hours. My goal was never to be in Cryo Hub for 12 hours a day.
Full time, yeah.
No, I'm a business owner.
Yeah,
you know,
well, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you said at the start, you know, you can't be on the business and in the business at the same time.
100%.
You can only do so much, otherwise
obviously the first couple
changes.
of years we didn't even take a wage, you know, because we owned other businesses at the time, so we were building it.
Yeah.
But then it does get to a point, like you'll never see the owner of Tesco's. No. He's not just mooching around
on the checkout.
Nah, he's not that. Yeah. You know, like you don't see that.
Yeah.
And it's putting trust in other people.
100%.
And one of the limited beliefs I had was, I don't think no one can do this job as good as me. Yeah. Kelly can do it 10 times better than me.
Yeah.
People ring up, can I book in with Kelly? I'm like, yeah, Chris can.
What about me?
Yeah, but that was amazing, obviously, watching my sister grow as a person as well. Like,
yeah.
She's a few years younger than me.
I love her. She's so lovely.
She's older than me, but she's not. But
yeah.
She's smashing it. Obviously, she's come out of her shell. And it's nice to watch.
She has really come out of her shell, actually.
I said, you can't have people in the chamber and stare at them. I think you're right, weirdo. You know, like, you've got to engage. We're taking their mind off it. Like,
imagine if she just stood there.
Yeah, I said you can't do that because the job she had before was obviously she was in a kitchen, so she only see her team.
Yeah.
We're working with the members of public.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to be. Now she's smashing. Like I get people comment all the time, like, "Oh my God, Kelly's amazing."
Yeah.
As soon as the door opened, she was there. Double espresso. Like,
yeah.
You know, like she's on it. She's on the ball.
But that comes from the top, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, 100%.
That's what you guys have
We've
created.
nurtured her. We've nurtured her, and she's not shy to ask questions, which I love that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you doing anything you're not sure about. Like, she's a manager. Straight away, when we said we're going to promote you, pay rise manager.
Yeah.
So, I was like, well, don't make them noises. You know, that means that you're scared already. Like, don't worry. Like, this is a good thing. And, like, you've grown into it.
Yeah.
You're permanently getting complimented. The people like you. And obviously, before it might have come across a bit masculine, me and Kaylin was there. Females can really open up to Kelly. Or you might have an area where you've wanted some work doing, but you don't feel comfortable with me and Kaylin. I totally get that.
That's so true, actually, yeah.
And another thing was a religious thing for our Muslim clientele.
There you go, yeah.
We couldn't see females without their headscarves, and we totally respect that. So Kelly can deal with certain stuff like that.
Yeah. So that's true. You don't always think about that at the start either, do you?
No, but she's, I'd say to her all the time, has anyone ever told you you're amazing? She goes, oh, stop saying that now.
Yeah.
But I think she's a huge, huge asset to Cryo Hub. And I don't think we would be where we are. Cut this bit out. I don't think we'd be where we are if it weren't for her.
I'm going to make that the headline of it. And I'll send
I honestly think that, though. I believe that as well. Like, she's incredible.
She is.
I trust her with my life.
Yeah.
You know, and she knows there's going to be a time where I might not be around in the clinic like that no more.
Yeah.
Because I have to follow my dream as well. You know, I've done people pleasing for too many years.
Yeah.
Now I have to do stuff for me.
And also it's part of your journey, isn't it? Like, you know, whether you're in Cryo Hub for another year or 2 years or 10 years, whatever.
Yeah. It'll always be my baby, Nat.
Yeah.
It'll always be my baby.
And it will always have put you and will put you in front of people who you're helping.
Yeah, for
sure.
And
that's all part of what you're here to do anyway.
100%.
And sometimes things come in different packages and you have to change and shift whenever that feels like the time comes. Yeah. And not just stay somewhere, like you said, for the sake of it.
I know when it is. I've already made a decision, you know. Yeah. I know how my future's going to plan out.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, that's it then.
I know, yeah.
That's it. There we go.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to end this conversation.
That's sweet.
Because I want to know where it's going. You can tell me that off camera.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers and listeners before we close up?
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible.
Yeah, if you believe in it, you can 100% achieve it. Like, I've come from nothing to where I am now. Yeah. And I'm just getting started. So anyone can do anything. Believe in yourself. Don't listen to the outside world and let it determine your inside world. Mm-hmm. Like, you're the only person who can control your thoughts. So thanks for watching our podcast. That's podcast.
Do you want to close it up?
I've loved being a guest on here, Nat, honestly. Even though I was terrified when I come in.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't know why either. I feel
never seen
sweet
you
now.
like
Like we're just having a convo, like me and you do, you know, like.
Exactly.
But to start with, I don't know. On the way, I was well excited, bit of music on.
Yeah, I felt your strange energy when you came in.
Coming in, I was like, oh, crikey. What's happening?
I'm going to interrogate you.
No, I've enjoyed it. Obviously, I know I would.
Good. Yeah. I'm so glad. Thank you so much for coming on.
No problem.
We'll have another catch up in another 6 months so we can see where you're at. Where can people find you on socials?
Social media, we're Cry Hub Bedford.
Yeah.
And then my coaching business is New Habit Mindset Shifts.
Perfect.
I've also created some free training as well if anyone wants to get access to that.
Maybe give us the link. We can post it underneath.
You can find it in the bio in my Instagram or I can give it to you.
Both?
Yeah, cool.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nat.
Thanks for watching and listening, guys. See you soon.